Morning Year 6. So for our reading lesson today, our learning objective is to recommend books that I have read to my peers, giving reasons for my choices. So we're going to be thinking about books that you've read and that you like and ones that you would want to recommend to your friends. But you're going to have to really justify why they should read that, why you liked it, okay? So be thinking about everything that you say, what are your reasons for it? So I want you to have a little think about this, and I want you to think about, why do we have book reviews? And I just want you to jot down your answer. So we have book reviews to be able to recommend books to different people. So if you're not sure about what book to read, you might read a review on that book. It's a little bit like if you're trying to buy something and you don't know which, car or phone to buy. You would read some reviews about it and see which is the best one. And that works exactly the same with book reviews. Okay? So just move on to the next slide and I'll explain what we're going to do this week. So, because it is World Book Day this week, we thought this would be a brilliant time for us to be hitting this objective and recommending books to our friends. So, in the next few slides, I'm going to explain how you're going to be doing a book review. I don't want you to just do a boring book review which just says your favourite character, your favourite part of the story, why you liked this book, what you'd rate this book. We want to get a little bit creative with it. So I hope that you're going to like the idea that we've got. So if you flick down the next few slides and I'll explain each part for you. So this will be the front of your book review, okay? So you need to get a piece of paper and fold it in half. If you've got A3 paper, you could make it a little bit bigger and that would be absolutely fine, or A4 is also fine. So you need to fold it in half. You don't need to cut it the way that this is cut. It is absolutely fine, just folded in half, don't confuse things. But what I'd like to do is then get some more paper if you've got some. If not, you can just write them on the paper that you've got. But if you've got some extra paper, I'd like you to do it as like flaps, like this example shows. So on the top bit, you'd have author, and then underneath you would say who the author is. Genre, underneath the flap, will explain what the genre is. Setting, theme, and companion book. Is there any book maybe that author has also written, or any book that is similar to this one? So all those things will be explained under those flaps. And do you see how lovely it looks? You know, decorate yours as well. I'm not expecting it all to be finished today. You might finish some of it tomorrow and later in the week. If it's still not finished, if you bring it into school next week, and we will try and spend some more time on it. On the right hand side there of that picture, the first bit is what the book is called. So you might copy the front cover and stick that onto there, okay? But like I'm saying, do it on an extra piece of paper and stick it on, and then it all looks the same, linked to the flaps. Then underneath, I want you to think about, when you read this book, was there any new vocabulary that you learned? And you could write that on one of those pieces of paper and then under the flap explain what that word means, okay? You might not have this book at home with you, okay? It might be a book that you've read in school. But for things like remembering the author and the genre, if you Google that book, you'll be able to find it, okay? And you'll be able to find the front cover so that you can copy it and things like that. You might not be able to do the new vocabulary if you can't remember it. However, what I would like you to do is set it out, so put the flaps there for it, decorate them, colour them in, and then when you come into school next week and you can get the book, you can then add to it. So when you open the book review, like you've just seen in the previous picture, you can see how it opens. On the left hand side there, you're going to put your favourite parts. So you will see, again, they are flaps. So there's a picture of the plane. Underneath that flap, it will explain what this favourite part was and why this was your favourite part. This is really important because this is how you're going to meet the learning objective. Because the learning objective said that you could give reasons, okay? You can justify your reasons. So under there you need to explain what your favourite parts are, so try to pick a few, like that one's picked 3. Explain what your favourite part is, and then give your reasons why that is your favourite part. Also remember that you're trying to get somebody to read this book. So, you need to encourage them to read it. Be persuasive. Think about the type of vocabulary that you're using. Once we have finished these, which might be in a week or so, once we're back in school, I'd like to share these with different people, so then you can choose another book that you want to read. So it's really important that you are putting lots of effort into this, making it look lovely, presented really nice, and also giving really good reasons why this is your favourite book. Don't just pick a book that you've read before. It's got to be one that you've enjoyed. In the middle there, okay, now we've got the problem. So you need to think, what was the problem in the story? If this is non-fiction that you're looking at, because a non-fiction book might be your favourite, then you might talk about the different things that are in there. So the different subheadings, and you might explain each one, or the different sections that are in there. For example, if it was a book about animals, you might have one section which was about the lions, which section which was about the giraffes, and so on. You get what I'm saying. So under there will be the problem, however many main events there were, and then the resolution. Then there's just a little picture, and believe it or not, you might put something like, you might find out a fact about the author or about this book. Can you believe that this book was written however many years ago? Can you believe that this author wanted to be something when they were younger? So think about some facts that could go under there. You can see there how that's got a coloured piece of paper under it. Yours doesn't have to, but if you wanted to, if you did have it at home, or if you wanted to decorate it using some coloured pencils or felt tips, you could decorate the background of that and make it look really nice. So then on the right hand side it says rate this book. So you need to cut out a piece of paper or do it straight onto there if you don't have extra. And I want you to say draw some stars out. How many stars do you give it and why? Again, that's the really important part, explaining why. The part underneath you don't have to do, you might have another idea of something you want to put there, but that's quite a nice little flap bit. And you can say who was in the book, where was in the book, where was the book set, sorry, when was the book set, what happened in the book. And it's just a nice little quick thing for somebody to see when they're reading the book review. Then underneath you can see a picture of the main character, and underneath that flap it would explain all about that character. So there's just a few points to remember here before you start. So I'm really going to be focusing on your presentation. These need to look lovely. If you haven't at home got any coloured pencils or felt tips, then don't worry about that yet. You can do that once you're back in school next week. Just do the outlines for things. If you haven't got flaps, that's fine. Just draw some boxes and do the writing that would go underneath, and then once we're back in school you could stick some flaps on top. I want you to complete as many of the sections as possible. So go back through these slides as you're doing each part and check, have you included that bit? The main thing you must remember is the whole point of us doing this is to justify our reasons. Give your reason why this is your favourite book. That is what I'm going to be marking this based on. Okay? Remember, we will be sharing these once we're back in school, so make sure it does come with you next week. And you need to be convincing somebody why they should read this book. I cannot wait to see these Year 6. Please make sure you really wow us with these because they could look amazing. I'll speak to you soon.